What are you Slim should be schus, vatzala, and a shmira for all our holy brothers and sisters going into battle. Yisroel should protect them, should matzliach. And shoes for Holo Kaliso. So last time we went through parts and understanding that every Yid externally, we might look different, we might act different, but deep down we're all the same. And the Tiferes LeMoishe gave an example of a father, grandfather, great-grandfather who has many descendants who all look different, and is going to expect them all to treat each other with the utmost love and respect like he has for them. So therefore he says, don't look on the outside, don't judge a book by its cover. And therefore on that basis, he says, that's how we should look. We should look for the achi. It says we should look for the achai in everybody, and that's how we should be. We should address each and every one, each and every Yid. So he says, the question therefore remains. Lama kasher nechnas Yehudi she'en lai sari saruches ein lai lavish k'goy v'hu kein shem eter mitzvos ela she'en nimne al hachog or ha'eda ha'kilo chdish shalai. So why is it physically, from a physical perspective, we're going to just look at our normal human response that we identify those that look like us. So why is it for a Yid that walks in and doesn't look any, for example, in my case, doesn't look any different than me? It's not like, he's sporting some, for example, in this case, just the way he's reading it, he's not particularly sporting any dreadlocks or any Iron Maiden t-shirt, or, he's being shown the Torah mitzvahs, and he just looks pretty much like me, and he dresses like me, but, he's not exactly the same kind of community as I am, or beliefs that I have, or my particular chasidus, or whatever it is. Why don't we understand that even a Yid like this, we need to treat with utmost love? For some reason, we feel that, no, I need to bring close those that, walking around like the example that I gave. It could just be anything. So why? So like we said, this idea of like this guy who doesn't look like me, and he's, to actually think of a song, the MBD song with strapped in his, I think the words are knapsack, his long and curly hair. This guy's at the Western Wall Friday night. That guy, that guy's the guy that I have to bring close to the other guy. But, any other guy, like, hello, whatever, and, kind of just move on and don't particularly feel that I need to bring him closer because he's there. So, like, why is it? Why is it that only those, it seems, on the flip side, that are, like, look really different than me, and they're really to the other extreme, and those are the ones I need to focus on? Why those that are like you but not exactly believe the same way that you do, in whichever way it is, that with this particular person it's almost as if you're allowed to hate him because he's not like you. He's also got a holy neshama. If you can see the holy spark in somebody who looks very different than you, then why should it be so difficult for you to see the holy spark in somebody who looks like you? Are they not your brothers? The Yetzer Hara isn't sitting with hugs, and he doesn't allow for us to have yisroel. Because when there's enough ahavas yisroel, then we can't get the goal of it. Lachin mezek kalpar mishana Torah with hayetze v'lechas achor b'vadek shebchol zman yetamid machlekes ben chogim hashenim. The reason why there's all this machlekes, the Yetzer Hara is constantly trying to stoke the fires and make sure that between us, those that are the most like us, there's the biggest sinas chinam and the biggest fights. Why? Because that means that therefore the Begola will not come. Whichever way or form might be, whether it's in the shul, whether it's in a certain chasidus, whether it's a certain community, a certain group of friends. When he sees that, it seems to be all quiet on the rest in front, and not so much senas chinam going on. He's afraid. He's really, really scared. We're going to get out of Golas, and Yetzer Hara is coming to an end of his mission. But and somehow when things are quiet, it's interesting. And somehow when things are quiet, then something new starts. Like, middle of nowhere. Where does this come? The Yetzer Hara's got a thought here, a thought there. Ultimately, we're not saying that there's a boogeyman who's controlling us. What we are saying is, we are in control of our reactions. And sometimes, a thought may come up and may be strengthened and given more validity than actually has by the Yetzer Hara, so that the decision that we will have to go away from machlokes becomes even more difficult. The person that thinks will see ein derech ha'etzel lahave eish v'machne b'chol tkufa al dei machlokes acheres she'ola al haperek. The Yetzer Hara's way is not to make a fire burn in the middle of the encampment, or middle of the group, every single time through different machlokes. It's not usually the same way. Because this way, for example, if there's a question halacha or minhag, should be decided by Rabbanan v'achlota hasofis eichlin hagma lamasi ba'ofen shel daikanem, and the final decision on how to act in a certain circumstance will be in a pleasant way. Every person will ask his LOR, local Orthodox rabbi, the way that should be is that two Yidden are sitting and eating. Su'udas marim al shulchan echad. They're having a meal at a table. When this certain topic will come up. What do you do in this case? I do this. Because that's what my Rav told me. And then Yana Shimon, Shehu Misnahig Lehepach, Kafi Shapasek Rav Shlein. And Shimon will say, well, my Rav told me like this. Each one will say, look, I'm trying to do the right thing. My Rav told me this. Your Rav told you to do like that. That's fine. It's absolutely fine. And then they continue like friends. It's okay to have different opinions as long as your hearts are not separated by it. What does the Yetzer Hara do? Talking about the topic, let's try and see how we can stoke the fires of machlokes here. Each one embarrasses the other. And they'll say, he said his Rav told him so and so. Morris doesn't understand halach, he doesn't understand the minig. I know. And going to insult the other side and his rabbanim. Each one will put up big pamphlets or whatever on the other person, and they're going to use all their resources to merge with Torah and Mela. However, the Yetzer Hara has a big victory. First thing is, each one of them embarrasses and hates the other Yid. The Oid, however, Herviach, and the other thing that he gained by this, there's a big Chilul Hashem in the world, but through these Yidden, how they're behaving. And another thing that he managed to achieve, this Yitzhar, there's so many fractions of different sides taking place, which is basically fracturing up this unity that we had before. Which just fuels the fire. The pleasure that Yitzhar gets from all this all this sinner, all this fracturing, we can't even estimate. He can sit there, fold his arms, lick his fingers on the damage that he's managed to do. He doesn't need to do anything anymore. He's just put the first spark and then just let it unravel. Because we're very passionate about the things that we believe in. And so as long as we believe that we're doing the right thing, and Yitzhar will say, you should go this way and that way, and you should be mevazeh him, and the more he doesn't have to do. We're quite capable of ruining it for ourselves. They don't realize that they're already, these are emissaries, but puppets of the Yitzhar. That they are causing all this damage. The worst thing is they think that they're doing a great thing to try and show that they are right by investing all this time and money and putting out pamphlets and papers. And we go out to this one, they go out of one fight, they go into another fight, and then into another fight, another. If a person will think, okay, it's only the Yitzhar is actually gaining from this. And Kaisol is suffering. And they tell that when, sorry, it was difficult to read. They tell that when the time when the airplane was invented is said that the Yitzhar says that the world is moving ahead. And everything is developing fast. Technology is developing faster and faster. Everything that used to take a long time, is done in a few minutes. Sometimes it used to take weeks, now it takes minutes. Big example, a trip that would take several weeks can take now several hours. Let me second, I missed a page. However, he's doing a very difficult job because he needs to work on each and every person by himself. He's also become clever that he doesn't need to work so hard anymore. And therefore Yitzhar is going to work faster as well to create machlekas. He's going to make two rabbanim, and they're going to fight with each other. So, he's also become very clever with his technological advancements in creating machlekas. And so instead of working on each and every person, so he's going to go right to the source. And he's going to make a machlekas between rabbanim, and then each community will be pitted against each other. And then within the community there'll be fractions. So we have to be very aware of this. We have to realize the Yitzhar is very, very clever. He's got many, many years of experience. And in fact, everybody's Yitzhar is as clever as the person is themselves. So he's cleverer. And it's something that we need to be wary of. And with Hashem, if we have our eyes open, then we're halfway there. So we should be zeicha to see things for what they are and not fall in the trap of machlekas and sinas chanam, and learn to love and appreciate everybody for their own flavor.